Good morning, neighbors. Good morning, neighbors. Good morning, neighbors. And say it together with me. It is Friday. That's right. It is Friday, the 26th day of April. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us on the Power Breakfast Show on Power 102 Digital. Of course, full casting. We just heard from Paul Richards. We'll hear from Wendell Stephen, Richard Ragoobarsingh. We got Ruben and Shane at the back end. My name is Steve Khan. Before we get into the meat of the matter, it's 24 degrees at Piarco, 25 at Crown Point, and traffic-wise, there's just some volume by Chase Village, Charlieville, by the interchange, Trin City to UE, and by Swim Call getting into Port of Spain. It's heavier, all right? Yeah, all right, before I say my hellos, let's say good morning going out to Super Bowl.
Good morning, Steve. Good morning, everyone. Good Friday morning to you.
Good morning, pal. How you doing?
Surprised I'm up this morning. I had a long day yesterday, which ended at 10:30 last night.
Oh, yeah. I was snoring then.
I was at a town hall meeting on health in Arima.
Oh, yes. That's right.
I had to leave that at 7:45 and get down to Port of Spain for 8:30 to judge a talent competition.
Talent competition.
Mm-hmm. That's coming right here on Me TV just now. So Lewis asked me to come and judge, and very, very talented. You know, I mean, this country has so much talent. Let me tell you.
Talented in what regards?
Well, there was singing. There was singing of pop songs. There was singing of gospel soca. There was an East Indian classical dance. There was an 11-year-old girl who I couldn't believe after she performed she was 11.
Really?
Yeah, she performed Rihanna's "Raise Me Up," I think is the name of the song. And when she was asked, I said, how old is she? She said 11. I said, yes, I mean 11 like SCA 11. She said yes. She just wrote SCA.
11 like SEA.
I mean, outstanding talent. I mean, if she's performing as an 11, I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
I make a point of when someone asks me to be part of anything that helps young people like that, I make a point of doing it.
Yeah, you can't say no.
You can't say no.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it very, 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 very. This country has so many talented children and young people and adolescents, and very often they don't have outlets to express the talent.
Mm-hmm. That is so true.
Yeah. So, I mean, good morning to Peter Lewis and those of you watching on METV, which will be airing on METV. I'll get some clips by next week to be able to play to show you all.
All right. So good morning to all those watching us on Me TV, Flow channel 111, Digicel channel 20, Amplia channel 117. All right. For those watching us on television, you can always WhatsApp at 318-1021, just like what Dan Raj did and Sankofa. On Facebook and YouTube, we got first off the gate Ray out in West Palm Beach, Florida at 3:34 this morning. Geez, don't you sleep? DJ Ray Concilier out in Valencia. DJ Ray's in Tampa. Wayne B is on holidays. The TNT, he's in Trin City. John Cato. It's Friday. Say that again. Oliver Man Warren, Boy Bedesi out in Davie. Slick Money Grip. Wendy and James, Brenda Isaac out in Santa Cruz, Rita Bodo Jennings, Herda Wells, Maria Celia, D. Pierre, Carol Guevara, CJ New York, Nikisha Pierre out in Brazil Village. Good morning to you. Alistair Hart, Gloria Gray, Hector, Evans David, Trinidad Margot. Thank you so much for hitting us up this morning. You too can do it via Facebook, YouTube, and of course, WhatsApp. And good morning to you, Wendell Stephen.
Hi, morning, Steve. Morning, Paul. Morning, Richard. Morning, Trinidad and Tobago. And good morning, listeners and viewers all over the globe.
I was about it last night. Well, yesterday afternoon to evening.
He was in Arima.
A really nice community center.
Okay, where is that?
On Anglican Street.
Is it Malabar or Arima proper?
Arima. As you come up by the hospital there from on the bus route, You just keep going, and as you cross the East Terminal, the first one you're right.
Oh, okay. That is right behind Marad Supermarket there.
Yes, and the owner of Marad Supermarket was at the health town hall meeting last night.
Well,
we had the MP for Marima. We had Lisa Morris Julian, who's the MP for what?
Dabadi.
We had the mayor of Arima. We had the chairman of both the San Grande and Tunapuna regional corporations.
So it had a lot of snack plates.
Yes, it did.
I know when the big shots come out.
It was a really and the MP for Tunapuna, Esma, who is on the committee.
Esma, okay, all right.
And the MP and Minister of in the Ministry of Agriculture, Avanash Singh, was on the committee.
Okay.
And the MP for Chaguanas, Vandana Mohit, Chaguanas East or West?
East, Chaguanas East.
It was a big shot meeting.
Clearly.
Nice. And it was about health, but of course a gentleman came up and was talking about the issues he had, which are in some ways related to health. Talking about pollution from the landfill. There's a landfill. Napo landfill.
Yeah.
And he said when it's raining, the smoke comes and pollutes. He spoke about what he described as the most polluted river. I forget which one he described. And he was starting to go about these issues and something about the market and the unsanitary conditions. So I had to say, well, this is about health and NCDs, non-communicable diseases.
Not public health per se.
Yeah, not public health directly, but I understand what you're saying. So he said, no, I had to talk because I said, well, the mayor is right there. He's in attendance. Here, what I'm trying to see? I can't see here at 12 months.
Good. Oh, Mayor Maraj. Bali Maraj. Yeah. Well, very good. So that was a 2-day thing. That's what it's also been held.
No, it is the fourth of. This is the fourth one we've done from the Committee of the Parliament that we're looking into NCDs. So we did one in the Parliament complex in Port of Spain. We did one in San Fernando, one in Chaguanas, and then one in Arima. We hope there's consideration to go to Tobago too.
All right. Okay. Interesting. That's good. Keep up the good work.
There was some positive response about people's interviews to the healthcare sector. But of course, most of it is, people getting heart condition and cancer diagnosis stage 4 and getting a year, 18-month and 2-year 2025 September appointments.
Yeah.
Ridiculous, ridiculous.
People in the public healthcare sector referring it to private health, their private healthcare practice. Stuff that you hear over and over and over and over again.
Yeah,
and then
true, right?
And then the defense of it, to me, is anyway. Good morning.
Yeah, that issue of people going into the private institutions and getting what?
No, being sent.
Being sent, right.
Not
being
just sent to private if they want. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
But when you go to public, all the X-ray working, the MRI working, we have no medication here. But you can go there and get it and pay $5,000. That's an issue. I have my practice down the road, down the corner.
Come and see me there.
Yeah, that is unethical.
Yeah, it is, and it's been going on for so long.
It's an issue that is not exclusive to this administration.
No, that was it's been going on for so long.
Decades.
Yeah, it's been going on for a long time.
Everybody to deal with it because, of course, it's doctors.
Yeah.
And it's one thing after go doctors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then lawyers.
And then police.
And you know what I don't like is that you're so vulnerable that whatever the doctors tell you,
Steve, that is the issue. That is the issue that coming up over and over.
Yes.
When you have a physical ailment and you go and you spend 14 hours or 12 hours waiting, it affects your anxiety levels about your issue. And then you're in some instances, people said they weren't given any information. A woman said she took her elderly mother who had a swollen mouth. The doctor examined the mouth, take antibiotics.
Yeah,
not even a question to the patient.
Yeah. And let me tell you how, because I remember when Dad.
Somebody goes and check the world, but it's happening all over the world.
Yeah, I remember when Dad had an issue and we went to a private hospital. We did a CAT scan. They came back and said, "Well, it didn't come out good. We have to do it over." Fortunately, one of our very good friends in the family was a doctor, and he looked at it and said, "But nothing wrong with this. Why you want him to spend thousands of dollars for a second CAT scan?" Well, they stay quiet one time. So to take advantage, if you do not know, or the vulnerable.
Well, when you or your loved one is ill, and you are in an extremely vulnerable, desperate solution for relief.
Preach.
Desperate. And you go there, most of us are not medically trained. So we have to depend on if the doctor, the nurse feel to communicate with you what is wrong and what your options are. I mean, what I dislike intensely, and I understand public healthcare is always going to be a challenge because the supply is greater than the amount of resources that we have. But there's a lot of work to be done on the processes. People don't mind waiting, You understand? If they feel the process is going to be professional and make you get a sense that, well, there is a system in place that I'm going through and I may get relief at the end.
Yeah.
When you're being given for stage 4 cancer in one instance, stage 4, the doctor told the person, it was broadcast, so I could talk about it. I'm going to tell you something. I would advise you, if your family has the money, to go away and treat with this, because stage 4 is one before.
Terminal, yeah.
Stage 4, I think, usually means it's already begun to spread from its point of origin to other neighboring structures in your body, which is not good at all.
Yes.
And she was told that better you take your family out of the country if you want them alive. Because that appointment they give you for September 2025, you know what's going to happen by then.
Yeah.
That cancer will spread all over.
Ridiculous, huh?
The prognosis will be terminal.
Yes.
But when Mom got breast cancer, she discovered it at stage 4, At stage 4. And the first thing that they would do was the mastectomy and then chemo. But fortunately enough, it came back.
Reported that they couldn't get scans. I think it was a cancer because the machines weren't working at 2 different RHAs. Don't talk about the drugs issue and the availability. Let me tell you something. And of course, somebody came up and spoke about, extolled the virtues of part of it. One of the topics was records management, which is your thing. And of course, she said, she's really happy with that the RHAs are digitizing Mount Up, I think. And guess what? And from tomorrow, you can start getting your digital records. Convenient, eh? From tomorrow.
Yes.
Give me a break. All of a sudden from tomorrow.
Did you all hear my stoops?
I don't know. I haven't.
Okay. From tomorrow. Okay.
Because I generally don't get sick, but when I do, trust me, I'm not going to the public hospital.
We will all get sick sometime.
Yeah.
We will all get sick from time to time.
Yeah. I'm not going there. I'm
but
sorry.
Wendell, give God thanks and praise. You could afford it.
Well, not just.
But a lot of people that can't afford it. Huh? Tons of people.
You could afford it.
I understand that. I understand that.
And they have no choice but to go into the public health. And that's why it's so overburdened. As I said, I understand there will always be a greater number of people, the majority of people, going for public health care because it's primarily free.
Yeah.
And it will always seem overburdened, but you have to get a sense that from the intake to the type of interface you get with the security guard and the nurse doing the thing, how people treat you.
Yeah.
And then there's a definite process for your course of care, that you get a sense that you're not going from pillar to post, the machine ain't working, it's no drugs, the doctor leave to go to a private practice, he's telling you the private practice, you get an appointment 18 months down. Those are things that are within their control.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't start, man. It's Friday. Oh God, don't start.
It's been like that for decades. That's the sad part about it.
Yeah.
I've always said,
administration come and go, it is the same
When
thing.
you have a commingling of senior doctors, because it's usually senior doctors, on duty in the public healthcare system who have private practices, you are always going to have a conflict of interest. And there's no impetus for them to make the public healthcare effective and efficient, because then it will mean less people going to pay them money.
Yeah.
And I make no apologies for saying that.
None.
None at all.
There isn't one private hospital that has not improved infrastructurally in a big way over the last 10 years.
And more popping up.
Yes.
Yes, because they know they can make money.
And I have no problem with people investing in their families, studying hard, sacrificing, becoming medical doctors, professionals, and deciding, well, you know what? This is my trade. I could become wealthy from this. I could provide good health care. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
My issue is when that is growing because of the gaps, the massive gaps in the administration of public health care. That's my issue. You go and work hard, anybody work hard, study, because it takes 12 years to be a specialist at the lowest end. In some instances, 14, 15. People invest a lot of money and time in becoming specialists. Great. But it should not be that the private healthcare sector is growing because of the massive gaps in public healthcare being exploited.
Yeah.
Which is what is happening.
And of course, you know, you go to a private healthcare, they'll say, before anything is done, you can go by the cashier first.
Yeah, you have to put
it's a business.
You can go by the cashier first.
It's a business. I have no problem with that. It's a business. We all know what the intake is like in private institutions.
Yeah.
Let's not pretend that come in, let's take care of you first and see if you can afford it after. No, it's a business. No problem with that.
Yeah.
No problem. Anyway, 6:24.
I have a couple birthdays.
Breathe for. Take a sip of coffee and breathe for a second.
Nigel Walcott, happy birthday. Myron Carrington, he's the assistant MP Scotland. Happy birthday, Myron. Ricardo Worrell works down there at Port of Spain Corporation. Tony Chain, she's my cousin, lives abroad. Kevin Gregory Haynes, Leo Wint, Gerard Walker, who is 114 years old today. Of course, that's what
114, you said?
Yeah, I know. Gerard is playing the fool.
Oh.
And Che Wallace. Ernie Pilgrim is also celebrating a birthday today. All right. And yesterday, I missed Faraya Hayatali. She's a teacher at Naparima Girls. Happy birthday, Miss Hayatali. And Gordon Danny Paul. His birthday was also yesterday. And Alicia Romano, she was at UDCOT. Her birthday was also yesterday. All right.
It is also the birthday of Christy Ramnarine.
Christy Ramnarine. Fuad Abubakar.
Yeah, Fuad's
oh,
wife.
Right. I thought so.
Happy birthday to you, Christy.
Happy birthday, Christy. All right.
Let's say congratulations to Kama Maraj, who is the founder and managing director of Sasha Cosmetics Limited. He is such a business pioneer. He was inducted.
I'll get him on the program next week for sure.
Into the EY World Entrepreneur of the Year Hall of Fame in Monte Carlo. Well, this was quite a time ago, but I just saw it come up and I just thought I'd congratulate because he's such a business pioneer. And a good guy too.
And like he uses his products. You see how good he looks at his age?
Well, he does. I interviewed him some years ago and he told me this is what you need to use in your face. That's right.
Yeah. You see how his face looks? It looks good.
You see how Paul's face looks? No one. He told him we need to use these products.
Unlike you, I've had quite a successful career.
And
that's why you're stuck on radio.
And that's how the war started.
Radio, but then only because go on TV.
That's why you're stuck on radio so long.
And that's how the war started. But you know, there's a war brewing between me and my neighbor, and I want to expose him this morning.
Oh, gee.
Don't call your neighbor name, and I don't want to war. I ain't, but do you have your lawyer? We don't know.
I ain't calling the name, but I'm sure. I hope my two business partners listening. And so, because
I know.
Neighbor, if you all know where I am on the Western Main Road, right?
Western Main Road. That was home.
No. There's no frontage to my place, right? It's a driveway. So, but the persons on either side, they have a frontage. But I always tell people from all my years of experience in the corporation, you don't own the road and you don't own the pavement in front of your building. You're entitled to your driveway. So anybody could park in front of your building. It's not against the law. Okay? And if you know Western Main Road, early in the morning, you cannot park on the northern side, eastbound side, between 6 and 9. So everybody who has a business or who is coming to visit anybody on the main road, they have to park on the southern side,
Your
facing
establishment is on the
west.
southern side.
Right, facing west. So I had said, but how my neighbor reaching to work so early these mornings, reaching his business place that nobody is operating. It's an empty building. I said, how are we reaching so early in the morning? Only for me to, I said, no, this is strange. And so I rolled back the camera just now, a while ago, to see him at 10 to 4, 3:49 a.m. Come, park one of his cars there, park it in the middle of the spot so that because the spot could hold 2 cars, park it in the middle of the spot, jumps in another vehicle and goes away. At 10 to 4, 3:49, I kid you not. And leaves, and that car will stay there for the entire day. Now, how selfish can you be? How ridiculous can you be? How ungrateful can you be to your other neighbors who clearly will need parking? That you put a vehicle there, 10 to 4 in the morning, and jump in your other vehicle and go away.
Yesterday, you say that I understand. I was driving down St. Vincent Street, just between Guardian and the Ministry of Education building. Cars are parked on one side, and there's a car parked in the middle of almost in the middle of the road, leaving very little room on the left side, driving south, with the indicator light on one side. Not the hazard light, so the indicator light. And the female driver is basically hanging out the door on the driver's side. So I'm saying, well, the car must have shut down or something, right? Because everybody has to squeeze and it's causing traffic. So I'm saying, so I'm looking in my rearview mirror and there's a police cruiser, 2 cars behind me, who obviously stopped to seemingly ask if she needs assistance because, of course, it's causing a traffic jam. You know, she stopped there waiting for somebody.
Yeah.
Well, they run she. Because she jumped in the car and she's trying to, she's waiting for somebody. So you're waiting for somebody rather than make the block and look for proper parking. She don't care.
Yeah.
That she's causing traffic because she had to wait for somebody. They
have a lot of people like that,
I know, but there's tons of people like that. Common sense, all that coming in.
I'm saying, but the abject selfishness of this person. Sometimes coming in this building here, they basically parking the car in front of our driveway in the building here.
Yeah. Yes.
People are so selfish.
I get that all the time on the main road. All the time. Sometimes people will actually ask you, oh God, I'm just running right next door and we'll see all right. But there's some people too who would park up and jump out and go their way and seeing a driveway, So they might be even see a vehicle parked in that driveway.
Morning pool.
Selfishness.
Who are better drivers? Men or women?
No, but my neighbor went on a new level this morning when I observed it. Because I say maybe he comes there early in the morning, only for me to realize he's actually putting a vehicle there and going his way 10 to 4 in the morning.
Selfishness.
Oh, goodness. No, man.
Men don't care.
I know the question yesterday was about whether or not the probe should be made public. The Minister of Health has said that it will eventually be made public. Of course, depending on what it contains, it may be they may not be able to make it public, which makes sense. Because if it has stuff that has implications for people's professional or personal reputations, and you make it public, then the liability goes crazy. You understand?
You mean the PAHO probe?
Yeah, the PAHO probe.
But the minister is quoted as saying this morning it will be made public.
That's what I'm saying, Wendell. He said eventually it will be made public.
Okay.
Eventually.
Right.
Once they clear all the potential legal hurdles related to that, which means it could be made public in 3 years. Just saying.
I guess. I see Dr. Daryl Jones is off suspension so that he can assist with the probe.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
The team has started, the 3-woman team, who is the PAHO team, has started interviewing people. And there was a planned tour of the media by NWRHA of NICU. Why?
Because I guess the proofs, whatever. I don't know.
Why? At this stage, why?
Did the media ask for it?
I don't know. Why? Why
Maybe
not?
it's because of what has been printed in the media and what the opposition say. Why they?
Well, they cancel it.
They cancel it. Okay.
Because they get a reaction from Freedom Chamber saying, why the media throwing this time, and why won't the parents also invited the media throwing?
Yeah.
Anyway, they canceled it.
Did you see that video of Pastor Clive Dutton? I don't know. Somebody sent a little asked me to send it because I really find people go to some depths now with their politics now. I don't know. No? Critiquing the MP Khadija. I mean, it has to be her. He referring to, you know. It was in Portis, I think.
Did he call her name?
No.
And what was the general gist of it?
I'll send it for you. I'll send it for you and the thing, but I'm not sharing it.
Give a kind of overview.
I'm not sharing it with anybody else, so don't ask me to send it for you, people. I got it this morning. I saw it in a chat this morning, and I said, "Why? Why does that need to be said in a crime symposium? How does that belong in a crime symposium that the scrap iron dealers and the whoever else was having scrap iron, Wendell Fields, and whoever else was having? How did that come in?
Wendell Fields and scrap iron or used cars?
Well, he's used cars, but he was part of that symposium too. So I just sent it for you. You know, I just thought it was in poor taste. You know?
Yeah, idler.
Hi, Steve. Yeah. Yeah.
Like a child, you know.
He is childish.
Michael Grandison, I fully agree. I don't know what it will take for the authorities, namely the Ministry of Works and Transport, to realize that depending on people to understand between Mount Lambert on the Eastern Main Road and St. Joseph by Wassa, people to understand that middle lane is unidirectional depending on the time, and everybody know that, is craziness. And one did grab a real bad accident there. Because in the morning, the middle lane is to be used to go west up, you understand, where most of the traffic is heading.
Yeah.
And from a particular time, I think it's at 2 or 3 in the evening, it's supposed to go east, where people are heading in the opposite direction. And let me tell you something, it's like a
kamikaze course.
It's a kamikaze session, you know.
Yes, you're right.
But you know, not everybody knows, and they need directional traffic lights that switch at the appropriate time.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Presuming the signs, everybody knows the signs and understands how it's supposed to work is a big presumption.
Mm-hmm.
And I fully agree with you. That is needed, and people have called for it for years.
Yes, he in particular has been calling for it for a long time now.
Yeah. So, yeah. I know.
What else is in the news?
The cricket conference started yesterday.
Yes.
With Dr. Rowley welcoming his counterparts and asking that if nothing else, they leave with a plan to... Right, he said, leave with a plan to move West Indies cricket forward at the end of the 2-day regional conference. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Nice
Michael
food, drinks, and some cocktail receptions.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
Yeah.
Michael Holden got very emotional. Not for the first time. I've seen him. He's been pretty passionate about West Indies cricket, and he gets emotional to the point
spent his whole life in it, Wendell.
Yeah, he gets emotional to the point of tears, and he got so yesterday. He referred to something with the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board that Azim Bazarat dealt with after. He said that Michael Holden clearly is misinformed about his comments in terms of the person who was suspended or fired from the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board over some missing funds or something of the other. So Azim Bazarat responded to that after, you know. The person has appealed the decision of the board. So he said...
There are some big shots in it. Michael Holding, Vivian Richards, Andy Roberts,
Gordon Grinnett.
all the big names. You had, of course, Dr. Rowley, Barbados Prime Minister Mia Motley. I just don't know what will come out of this that the daughter Wharton can come.
Yeah. Well, this is specific to cricket. So let's hope that something
and the subcommittee is specific to cricket.
Yeah. I was happy to hear Dr. Rowley to refer to the Queen's Park Oval, because the Queen's Park Oval has been dead, has been dormant in terms of cricket. It's the premier venue for cricket in the Caribbean, and yet still there's very little cricket being played there.
It is. Jamaicans and Barbadians and Grenadians and Antiguans may argue differently.
No. Nobody can touch the Queen's Park
You're the
Oval.
cricket expert, so.
In terms of size and in terms of ambience and so on.
It's now a party venue now.
Well, that's what they make it into, because there are very little cricket playing there.
And they have the Cricket Academy, the Brian Lara in Taruba, and they're going to build a new one now, so in Trinity.
Yeah, that's a training place.
Yeah, but the academy is a training place too.
It was meant to be, but that turned into a party venue too also. You understand?
That's my point.
Yeah. But there's nothing to beat Queen's Park Oval. I mean, I ain't lying to tell you, I became a Queen's Park member simply to go cricket. I wasn't interested in anything else. I've never been to the gym. I've never played tennis. Well, I played in the cricket, the cricket league that the club plays. You know, but that's all I joined for. So I could find my nice, relaxing place to watch cricket without being interrupted. And that's what I've done successfully for years. But lately, it barely have any cricket to go to.
The club allows women now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. She also became a member. If you want to know.
Who's she?
She, I know where you're
going.
going.
Mother long time. Who is she? The cat's mother?
Yeah, that's she's self. She's self.
Let me not say nothing. It's not saying a word.
I see Karen refer to Guarakara Park. Guarakara Park also used to have some good cricket.
That's still open?
I don't know. I've heard about it for a long
time. For goats and cows and cattle and thing with plenty grass. Farmers could graze the animals there. Anyway.
That bad?
The confusion in the regional Catholic Church continues. I don't know.
You know, I didn't follow that story at all.
It is unfortunate, but like any other man-made institution, you're going to have confusion. Whether people feel it tag God in it or not, and it does because it's the Catholic Church, it will have confusion. Like
what did the priest do that he was suspended by Bishop?
According to, well, the initial reports were that he was making statements, unauthorized statements, or continued to make unauthorized statements about the Israel-Hamas Gaza situation, right?
Okay.
And the church has the Holy See, the Pope has been particular. They have you have to follow in line with what the Pope said generally, right?
Yeah.
So they asked him to discontinue, but now Archbishop Jason Gordon has added his voice, and I think Father Clive Harvey, who's from Trinidad and Tobago, who's been there since 2017, has said that the issue is not that he'd been suspended. Father Jared Paul had not been suspended because of the Gaza thing alone, but because of, quote, the continued lack of respect for the church and its pronouncements that often stray from the truth. Now, that is a profound statement about a Catholic priest. When you are saying a Catholic priest is straying from the truth, what are you saying?
You're saying he lying?
One of the 10 Commandments is,
thou shalt not lie. And something so, you know. But I mean, but what is he being untruthful about? You know, that didn't come out in the story.
His pronouncements often, it didn't stray once, often. Saying that he often strays from the truth is suggesting that he is continuously telling, or on many occasions has told untruths.
Well, is it untruth about the particular incident in Gaza?
I don't get the impression it's that alone. I guess he has his own perspectives on several global or regional issues. You understand?
Yeah.
Which may not be in alignment with the church's perspective. So I guess they have their own internal disciplinary thing. I have Father Harvey's number. I'm going to call him over the weekend.
Yeah.
He might be able to talk now because he's sending his resignation. You know.
Well,
but I will tell you, I remember when there was I think it was Archbishop Panton had passed, and there was a consideration of who would be the next Archbishop of Trinidad and Tobago. Remember, there's something. Catholic Church and other churches always have politics in it.
Oh yes.
Okay, remember that.
Yes.
At the end of the day, it's human beings,
Yes.
It's human beings.
Yes.
Right? Was it
Francis who took over from Panton? Was it Archbishop Francis?
No. No. Why is his name not coming to me? Such a wonderful man. He had a stammer.
Yeah, it's Francis. What's his name?
That's his name?
Yeah. Big guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he stepped down, I think for health reasons, and may have reached the age of retirement. And then Archbishop Gordon came in. So that, well, you know, again, it is more. It doesn't look good for the Catholic Church in the region. Police shot and killed 2 men in Enterprise Chaguanas yesterday morning. Killed Akeem Lane and another man ID'd only as Squash. Police said around 2 a.m. Central Division officers were on patrol along
Harris. That's been nice. I know it was something.
I know it was
Archbishop Harris. Yes, that's what it was. Yeah. Thanks, Ben.
Right. Around 2 a.m., Central Division officers were on patrol along John Street Enterprise when they met 2 men. I guess they came upon 2 men. It is unclear what led to the exchange. What led people dead, Paul do laugh.
You know, I heard that story and I shake my head. I say, oh gosh, the police have a, I think they have that typed out somewhere, and then they just put a date and a location. That's how I just feel about some of them.
I can't engage in humor because 2 men dead.
Yes,
but the unfolding of the story will make one have a tendency to become quite jocular.
Because they said the men and them were shooting at the police. The police took cover and shot back.
Well, if the men shoot at the police, why state to the media you don't know what caused the exchange of gunfire? Say the men shoot at the police.
They were fired upon and returned.
They were fired upon and the police were forced to return fire to defend. Good morning, Ragoobarsingh themselves.
Hi, good morning, guys.
It is unclear what led to the exchange of gunfire. And
are you all hearing me, Manny Jones?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Okay. No, I'm seeing stuff updating on my computer now, so I'm not so sure. Does it mean I still have access or not?
You don't
oh man, I think the updating on my screen. I don't know.
You should update before you shut down.
You ever realize your computer want to update as you go along?
That is why I schedule updates.
Right.
Thank you, Richie Rich, for breakfast.
Hmm?
Now I'm hearing you all again. Yeah. Richard was just in the office. Passed, he dropped off breakfast, and
you're alone, right?
I said thank you, and he drove back out. I didn't know you were there, Paul. Otherwise, I'd have bought breakfast for you.
6:46.
You're right to give a time now. That's how they're moving now.
You born in Spain? I see a mail last night.
Ooh. Your worship, Bali?
His worship, not my worship. Your worship. He was chastised by a member of the audience who said he's trying to see him for some months now and can't see him. And stoops and walked off.
Who stoops and walked off? Bali?
A member of the audience who was talking about issues he has with Arima So I'm saying, well, this is not the forum for that, but I can direct you. The mayor is right here, and you can probably have a conversation with the mayor. He said, who he? I try to see he months now. And he walk off.
So is Bali who stoops and walk over the list?
No, the man.
Huh?
The man stoops and walked out.
I thought it's the mayor stoops and walk away.
Yeah, I really don't know what's going on in Arima. I am not feeling between Penelope Beckles Robinson and the mayor and the Arima Borough Council that there is much happening in Arima. And if there is, they're very bad at publicizing it.
You know what? One of the new intentions or clauses in the new local government law mandates, and that forum yesterday showed that people want opportunities to interface with these public officials there. That every month, the council, the corporation, whatever it is, has to have a forum for the burgesses.
A community thing. But do you know that a statutory meeting is designed to do such? A statutory meeting, because I was listening to another frequency yesterday, and they were complaining how so long they get an invitation to a statutory meeting. And I'm saying, but statutory meetings are open to the public. It's open to all members of the media. Huh?
They don't know when they're having it, and they don't know that.
It's always set for the last Wednesday of each month.
You show them corporation doing that?
Well, I don't know if all of them doing that, but I know that
papers.
Unless some holiday changed it or some other thing changed it, like a couple would change because the mayor wasn't in the country, and I used to get pissed for that because I said, but there is a deputy mayor. The mayor don't have to be here for a statutory meeting. You know what I mean? But it's set, and the media knows that.
Another thing set. We have 640. We should have papers.
Yes, I do.
All?
Yes, I do.
I see the front page express is move oil wreck or else. Well, anyway, I can't say it because it's in public yet, but I have some things coming on that. So go ahead, please.
All right, so I'll start with the Daily Express since you jumped ahead of yourself and gave it anyway. And the headline is...
You see why you ain't got no food?
You're not rich, right?
You see why you ain't got no breakfast?
It's called... The headline is remove oil wreck or else. Government warns owner that Gulfstream vessel will be disposed of in 1 month. That's the headline. Talking cricket, and there is a picture of, the heads of CARICOM, at least some of them, and a miscellaneous group, but certainly Mia Motley and Dr. Rowley. I'm not so sure who the man in the middle is. Who's that? Oh, it's Sir Charlie Griffith. Is he center? And so that's the picture, of course, talking cricket. Dial saying doctors, nurses demoralized. That's also on the front page as a subheadline. And 2 shot dead by cops. And on the back page of the Daily Express today, fix that deal. It's kind of a wraparound. Well, it's dealing with the cricket conference. Fix that deal. TNT Barbados PMs call for review of CPL CWI contract. And Mia Motley, there's a picture of Mia Motley speaking, and she's sitting next to Sir Clive Lloyd. Barbados Prime Minister Mia Motley says has her say during the panel discussion entitled "The State of West Indies Cricket." So that's the front and the back page of the Daily Express. I'll move on to the Newsday today. On the front page, and of course it is Friday, April 26th, just in case you didn't know, in the year 2024. And of course, the weekend has begun, people, just in case you didn't know, because it's Friday, so put a smile on your face even if you're in traffic. The front page of the Newsday. Suspended doc back at Port of Spain General Hospital. Infection specialist returns as PAHO probe begins. So that's the front page. There's a picture of Mia Motley and Dr. Rowley. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley shows a steel pan painting done by his daughter, Sonell Rowley, to the Barbados Prime Minister Mia Motley at the CARICOM Regional Cricket Conference and at the Hyatt Regency. Attorneys...
They ain't going to want a commission of inquiry into that too?
I'm sure somebody will find that inappropriate.
They ain't going to want a commission of inquiry into that?
Am I allowed to continue, or do you all need to discuss this?
The Prime Minister to ask his daughter to present the picture. They might have a commission of inquiry into that too.
Do you all need to discuss this among yourselves? Or can I
continue? The picture? How much the paint costs and the paint brushes?
Attorneys, baby refused NICU entry, died.
So continuation of the
Continues.
public health woes that have been raised that has doctors and nurses demoralized. Clean up your act, holding tells TTCB and Wendy's administrators, and CWI backs Ghana's push for World Super League T20 tourney. I saw that the president of Ghana, Irfan Ali, also suggested that the West Indies Cricket Board be changed to the Americas Cricket Board and include all of the Americas rather than just the West Indies. Is that what suggestion I saw him make?
I'm not so sure if I agree with that, but it might be a
I'm
good
not so
poll.
sure about that either.
Yeah, because both of all you have a say. The Trinidad and Tobago Guardian today, April 26, 2024. Fix West Indies cricket. That's the front page. Two-day regional symposium opens at Hyatt. Regional heads holding slam CWI executives say it's time to clean up Governance Act. Want CPLD restructured urgently. West Indies cricket legend Sir Clive Lloyd listens to Barbadian Prime Minister Mia Mottley during a panel discussion at the CARICOM Regional Cricket Conference. Cops killed 2 men in Chaguana shootout and suspended Port of Spain General Hospital doctor helping Paho team. All of that is on the front page. Kind of like similar front pages across the board, basically. And on the back page, CARICOM leaders target CPL. And that's all you need to know for the 3 dailies this morning in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. So over to you, Paul, with the poll.
All right, well, let's get the results of our morning poll from yesterday. Yesterday, we asked you, do you think the final PAHO report into the deaths of the babies at NICU should be made public once completed? That was our poll yesterday. Give the results right after this.
Know and reduce your risk. Do you know the hazards around your home, your work, or where you traverse regularly? Are you prone to impacts caused by hazards like flooding, landslides, high winds, rough seas, or bushfires? All of these can affect your household, business, or place of worship during a disaster. Remember, it's not just your home. You must also consider the hazards where you work or regularly travel. For example, your home may be at risk of a flood, but while driving to work, you might be at risk of a landslide. Do you know everyone, as in all of Trinidad and Tobago, is at risk of earthquakes, tsunamis, or even an explosion? Plan ahead in order to reduce your risk before, during, and after a crisis, an emergency, or when disaster strikes. Follow us on the ODPM's social media pages to learn more on how you can be prepared, be secured, and be ready.
All right. Again, our poll yesterday. Do you think the final PAHO report into the deaths of the babies should be made public once completed? 100% of you all said yes. All right. 100% said yes. All right. Let's get into this morning's poll.
This morning's PP.
My poll is not as ready as it usually is this morning.
Oh, Jesus.
The power PP, the Paul's power poll, PPP. Oh, nice. That's
a potato with plenty pepper.
Paul's power poll. Oh, that's all.
So I'm suggesting, based on a lot of cricket news, do you think the conference will yield tangible solutions to West Indies cricket?
Oh God, that's too intellectual. Give it a little.
Well, you know what? You put your poll because my poll.
Give it a little roots now. Give it a little roots now. Do you expect positive? Do you expect West Indies cricket to change after this conference? Something so.
Is it that you found that my poll was too long?
Tangible and solution. People can't spell tangible.
You want a shorter poll?
Yes, I want a shorter poll. Fed up by these long polls.
Yes, Steve. I want to put you on.
Oh my God, I forgot it. Today's my niece's birthday. Happy birthday, Diana. I know you're not listening all the way. Where's she now? She's in Tennessee. But happy birthday, Diana. And I hope you have a fantastic birthday. Of course, I'll have to call you after the show.
All right.
Well, could you repeat your shorter poll, please?
No, that's do you expect positive changes to West Indies cricket after the 2-day conference?
That's longish too.
Yeah, but the words are simpler.
You prefer simpler polls?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you expect
positive changes to West Indies cricket after the current conference?
Are you afraid long pole so?
Can't say on here. Anyway, Andre, who asks about statutory meeting, it's at 2 p.m. most times. Sometimes it's at 10 a.m., but it's mostly held at 2 p.m. on the last Wednesday of the month.
So our poll this morning, do you expect positive changes to West Indies cricket after the two-day conference, which is currently taking place at the Hyatt? That's our poll this morning. What says you? 222-TALK, 222-8255. North Americans, toll free at 866-525-1099. People who are streaming us on all the various platforms, you can send your votes via the messaging portals located there. And if you're watching us on television, wherever you are, then you can also WhatsApp us at 868-318-1021. So let's get this poll
today
moving.
You can avail yourselves of Wendell's short poll.
So do you expect positive changes to West Indies cricket after the two-day conference?
All right.
Simple that roll off.
Good morning, caller.
Let's see how simple that short poll roll off, Richard Tongue.
I need to move fast. Two before
that. On radio, I'm able to do so. I understand you all are on digital. What number you all are
20.
On?
Channel 20 digital.
Okay, thank you very much. But why not getting on radio?
Because we're not on radio, we're online at power102fm.com, our mobile app, our website. Tune in, just ask for Power 102 Digital.
Only 3 years.
I've been doing that over a year now. But lately here, all the marketing is updating. Now, all the saying it, I'm not getting it at all.
Well, let's just put it this way: no other TV, no other radio program is on TV. We are the only one.
All right, I'm gonna try it on TV.
All right.
Not getting it on TV.
No problem. Thank you.
Also good looking.
All right. Storm Clement Superville, no. John Cato, no. Mrs. R, yes. Alistair Hart, yes.
Nice
Joe
food,
Sam, no. Donna Clark, no. Finbar Collins, yes. Gregory Boyer, yes. Julie S. Batiste, yes. Wayne B, yes. Michael Robinson in Yokohama, Japan, no. Let's see. DL, no to the poll. Let's see if we have any on WhatsApp here. Trini Jam, morning Trini Jam. My answer is no. Val, no. Hector, no. What says you, caller?
Good morning to the Power family.
Morning.
Let's go. My answer is no, and yes, the application is not working on the phones. The one that you upload to the phone, they're just spinning around in circles.
Oh, the mobile app is not working?
Yeah.
All right, I'll get them on it. Thank you. All right.
I haven't used that app. I use Instant Radio app.
We are in tune into Adrian Koto says no. You could also use Alexa to listen to us. Right. Adrian Koto says no. Right. What time is it?
It's 7 o'clock and I'm ready.
Yep. All right. So let's get into Carl M. Jock says no. Slick Money Grip says no. Let's get into our major news with Paul Richards.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
It's Friday, 26th April 2024. This is major news to 7 a.m. Good morning. We started with news on the crime front. Police shot and killed 2 men in Enterprise, Chaguanas, early yesterday morning during what they described as an exchange of gunfire. Killed were Akeem Lane and another man only ID'd as Squash. Police said around 2 a.m. Central Division officers were on patrol along John Street Enterprise when they met 2 men. It isn't clear what led to the exchange of gunfire, but following the shootout, both men were taken to the Chaguanas Health Facility where they were pronounced dead. This brings to 11 the number of people killed by police this year. Investigations are continuing. Health Minister Terence Dayal has confirmed that the 3-member PAHO team investigating the deaths of babies at the Port of Spain NICU have begun interviewing key officials into the probe. Speaking with members of the media yesterday at the CARICOM Regional Cricket Conference, the minister said the team paid a visit to the NICU. Minister Dayal said, quote, they would have visited the neonatal intensive care unit at Port of Spain and would have interviewed persons, and that is where they are as far as I know right now, end quote. The Pan American Health Organization's team comprises Dr. Nalini Singh, Dr. Griselda Rodriguez, and Dr. Trillian Birchwood. The team arrived on Sunday and subsequently conducted discussions with the NWRHA. They are saying assured the findings of the PAHO probe will be revealed despite allegations of an attempted cover-up. He added, the report will eventually be made public. And the letter from the lawyers acting on behalf of parents of the babies who died at the neonatal ICU in Port of Spain scuttled plans by the Northwest Regional Health Authority to host members of the media on a tour of the department. In a statement issued, the NWRHA said the invitation had been cancelled, stating, quote, on April 24th, it received a pre-action protocol letter from Freedom Law Chambers on behalf of their clients, which specifically raises concerns regarding the invitation extended to the media representatives to the NICU visit. Freedom Law Chambers asked the ministry to explain the purpose and timing of the media tour. The leadership of the province of Castries Antilles Episcopal Conference says it is saddened by the situation unfolding in Grenada and by the continued public display of disregard for headship and policies and processes of the church. In March of 2024, the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception, St. George's, stemmed from subsequent statements made by Father Gerald Paul on various media platforms, accused the church in Grenada of not condemning the situation, the war between Israel and Palestine in Gaza. In response last month, Bishop Clyde Harvey said Paul had not been suspended because of what he'd said about Gaza, but for his continued lack of respect for the church and his pronouncement that often stray from the truth. On now to the news of West Indies cricket. Leave with a plan to move West Indies cricket forward at the end of the two-day regional cricket conference. That is the hope of Chairman of the CARICOM Prime Ministerial Subcommittee, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley. He made a comment while delivering welcoming remarks at the Hyatt Regency in Port of Spain yesterday, Thursday. Dr. Rowley admitted there are concerns about the decline and state of the game in the region, even from observers globally. He said despite this, the challenges being faced, Prime Minister Rowley is still remaining optimistic that all is not lost for West Indies cricket, and even put forward some suggestions which pertained to contracts of the Caribbean Premier T20 tournament.
In the interest of West Indies cricket and managing resources that are available to us or should be available to us, that it is absolutely essential for West Indies cricket to reopen the CPL contract and to look at the resources available to West Indies cricket. That lopsided contract must not stand. And secondly, there are threats. And one of the threats is that we can allow cricket to die by having Trinity College, a boys' school in Trinidad and Tobago, without a cricket field or without a cricket net.
Dr. Rowley cited some factors which posed a threat to the game, but admitted a revival can be triggered and turn this around and return it to the former brilliance it once enjoyed in the past.
But at the end of the day, I hope by tomorrow evening, what we will leave here with is some either incipient or commitment to have a plan for going forward, which will give West Indies cricket an opportunity to generate players from sustainable nurseries with sustainable resources, which include corporate CARICOM and also a commitment to want to get back to where we dominated.
And the West Indies Cricket Board has been asked to make greater use of some of the veterans of the game who can share their expertise and experiences with younger ones involved in the sport. This is the view of former fast bowler, cricket board selector and administrator Sir Andy Roberts, as he gave some perspective on the game and what can be done to revive interest and competitiveness. Sir Roberts also spoke about the importance of the game at the school level, where talents can be properly nurtured and guided. He said there's the need for those in charge of the game in the region to listen to inputs from various stakeholders and apply suggestions where necessary.
If you love West Indies cricket, you've got to listen to every stakeholder in West Indies cricket. The players, the media, the pundits, the critics, and everybody. That's the only way that West Indies cricket is going to raise its head again. Everybody have advice. You don't listen to all the advice, but you take hints from some of the advice.
Meanwhile, former West Indies cricket captain Sir Vivian Richards said sport can play a key part in the development of the islands in these crucial times.
There are people who honestly care about West Indies cricket and where they'd like to see it in the future. And I think that when you have meetings like this, symposium on a whole, it does give you, it does bring discussions out. And as I said earlier, I'm just hoping we can find the solutions, be honest about things that is seriously affecting West Indies cricket and how we can move forward.
And from a fast bowler, Michael Holding, in an emotional delivery, said, with the lucrative nature of the game in formats such as T20, many players are focused on making a career and living from the sport. He said he's not blaming the players for taking the stance in choosing to play in the richer formats instead of playing for the regional side. Holding believes with improvements in the game, this can be one of the factors to encourage sponsors to come on board and put their money into a product which is of a high standard.
Cricketers, sports people in general, do not have a long time at their sport or their professions in whatever sport they are taking part in. So they have got to maximize their earnings. While they are playing this sport, they're not going to university, they're not learning a trade, they are just playing this sport and working hard at this sport. And at the end of them playing this sport, they can't now start a new career. So they have got to maximize their earnings and make sure that they are fairly comfortable, or as comfortable as they possibly can be when their career ends.
Meanwhile, regional heads and former cricketing greats yesterday lambasted West Indies Cricket's CWI for the state of the game and its organization in the Caribbean. Speaking via a virtual call at the CARICOM Regional Cricket Conference in the Hyatt Regency, an emotional Michael Holding called on Caribbean heads of government to pressure the CWI board into restructuring its governance model, hitting out at the madness plaguing the game in the region. In a contribution that brought former Jamaican fast bowling great to tears, Holding said, "We are just moving from one administration to another under the same system." He said the same lack of transparency. What we're doing in the Caribbean is madness. We need to clean up our act. Over to news now of Tobago. Ambulances are being procured by the Tobago House of Assembly, but are yet to arrive on the sister isle. The THA also decided to lease ambulances from one private company. Tobago Secretary for Health and Wellness, Dr. Faith B. Israel, provided the information during the weekly post-executive council meeting held yesterday. And on to an item of international news. Now, Google is accused of taking advantage of its market dominance globally to make it harder to search for a rival email service for consumers. Tutor Mail, which said it has more than 10 million users worldwide, alleges since March it has not appeared prominently in any Google searches for encrypted email services. The company has made a complaint to the European Union claiming Google, which has its own hugely popular Gmail service, is damaging rival businesses. And that is news to 6 a.m. right here on News Power Digital. We have major news coming your way at 12 noon once again, and headlines coming your way at 8 a.m. Good morning.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All right. Thank you so much, Paul, for our major news. Of course, we'll have a news brief coming up at 8 o'clock. All right. Giving you weather forecast, 28 degrees at Piarco International Airport, 28 at Crown Point in Tobago. What the Met Office is saying our weather is going to be like for today, Friday. They're pretty much saying it's going to be sunny, breezy, with a low chance of a brief isolated shower. Maximum forecast temperature for today, 33 degrees, 32 at Crown Point. And quickly, let's see if we have any problems with traffic, any accidents or anything. Usual routes, you've got traffic, all right? On the Solo, you'll pick up your traffic before you get to Monroe Road as you head northbound. All right, quickly, let's see if we have any more votes. Let me just check WhatsApp. Let's see, all right. And let's see, we got Josie Richards. We did call him Jack. Slick Money Grip said no. Faria Hayatali said no. Josie Richardson said no. Trini B said yes. And that's it. Right. Is Wendell tallies the votes?
Yeah, I have my tally. Morning, Sterling Francois. Long time no see. And good morning to Miss Joy Dealsing, who I saw commented earlier on. and Storm Clement Superbill. A lot of our old listeners are getting in hip with the technology, even though some are still complaining. But you know, it's what happens. You know, you never know. We might very well show up on a radio frequency near you someday in the not too distant future. You never know. You know, because trust me, this election's coming here. If people thought the last one was the mother of all elections, this election coming here, we might even get time to talk. We might even get time for a poll power poll. But anyway,
you always have time for a poll power poll.
I think we should make that part of the program, Paul's power poll.
No, please don't.
Huh? No, we can do it. Sherwin Coe also still getting a couple votes here, 17. So 17 people said no, they do not expect positive changes. And 6 said yes. That's what we have so far. 17 people said no, 6 said yes. Of course, we did have a shortened time for the poll this morning. Mrs. R said no also, so that's 18. So you can continue to vote. Of course, this poll will be open for the entire weekend. I think today is the second day of the conference, not so?
Yes, it is.
And last day, yes.
But what is expected to happen today, though? I don't even know.
Well,
I wish I could have attended, you know. I wish I could. Was it open to the public? I don't even know.
Yes, it is.
It is? Oh. Okay. Andrea, I could answer that question, you know. Which public servant you getting to stay back after working hours to administrate over a meeting? You don't see the administrator in Bacchanal already. You really think you'll get her to stay after 4?
Plenty. Let me tell you something. There are many public servants that work later. I wouldn't have you bad talking public servants this morning.
Me, I'm not bad talking.
Not in the mood.
I just telling you, most of them won't stay back till so late to do it.
Can you introduce your guest, please?
All right. So let us introduce to you, lovely lady, the chairman of the TTSPCA, Sita Kuruv. You know, I can never get
Kuruvilla.
I can never get your last name. Never. Kuruvilla. So good morning. Welcome to the Paul Breakfast Show on Power 102 Digital. How are you?
Fine, thank you, and good morning to all the presenters.
Good morning, Sita.
Good morning, Ms. Kuruvilla.
Good morning.
And thanks for your continued great work with the Trinidad and Tobago Society.
Amazing work.
Prevention of cruelty to animals. Sometimes you underestimate the great work you do.
Thank you, Senator Richards.
Yeah, you're some official legal.
Pardon?
He's Power Paul on this show.
Okay.
Yeah, Super Paul. We call him Super Paul around here.
Okay, I remember.
All right.
But I too want to congratulate you for the good work you're doing, because at one point in time, because I sat as a member of the Port of Spain City Council for 21 years. So I'm aware of your work. I'm aware of where you are. I'm aware of how bad it was at one point in time and how much it has improved over the last few years.
It's improved, but you know, we still have our hands full. There are lots of problems out there. And
what are your main? I'm glad you said that. What are your main challenges the society is experiencing now in terms of what's coming to you?
Well, there's just an overwhelming number of cases, unwanted animals, lost, injured, and so on. And I mean, we are taking on not just TSPCA, but predominantly TSPCA in the north, but also other NGOs. We are dealing with a system where there's a complete breakdown in the government aspect of dog control. So what we're seeing is in the last few years, certainly post-COVID, practically no corporations are functioning. So it means that really we are trying to cope with a system entirely on our own, or just us and a few NGOs, and it's impossible. It's an impossible situation.
You saying that the Port of Spain Corporation, because I would have lost touch.
Yeah.
They don't do the dog catching again to bring.
Well, they are limping along. They were down for quite. I mean, I think it was almost a year. Mm-hmm. But they're limping along now, so they are functioning. I would say partially. None of the other corporations are functioning, however. So we are coping with cases not just from Port of Spain or the northern part of the country, but we are also dealing with cases from San Fernando, basically all over the country, because the dog control responsibilities of the corporations has just collapsed.
Wow. I know Tunapuna Piako also had a pretty vibrant dog catching unit.
Not for years. Not for years. Neither San Juan, Laventille, Couva operated for a while. They're down. Part of the problem is that there are no support mechanisms for this function. So if you're going to pick up stray dogs, you have to have somewhere to take them. And it's unrealistic to expect that, a facility in North, one facility, can cope with that, the influx from all over the country. So we are actually working with the Ministry of Local Government. A committee was recently formed to start looking at the whole thing all over again and look at capacity and so on. But so far, there really is nothing in place.
Sita, when you say the corporations have primarily abandoned this responsibility, what does that mean? And as of last year?
No, it's been several years now. Certainly post-COVID, but even prior to COVID, I would say from about 2018, 2019, we noticed that, the corporations were no longer functioning. So that it means that they have no dog catching capability, and also that any actions that were moving forward in terms of looking at holding facilities has fallen through. So even the San Fernando pound, which is much maligned, and I mean I can understand why, is really not in a position at this point to operate. So it means that the dog control capacity in the country has, in terms of the government responsibility, is really almost non-existent.
So what have you seen because of that shortfall? Is it that you've seen a significant, steady increase of your responsibilities having to take up for that gap?
Well, certainly we have. I mean, we are constantly on call to deal with all kinds of cases. We ourselves don't offer a dog catching service. We tend, if we call to deal with injured animals or critical situations like that, we certainly try to respond, but we don't we don't have the capacity to go out there and catch stray dogs from all over the country. There's a worrying development in that we see it with companies and so on, that they hire private individuals to deal with cases. And we have followed up on a few of these reports, and we can't actually find out what the private companies are doing. So that's kind of worrying. We do know of some companies that will, let's say, trap cats and so on. Some are responsible, others just take the animals and dump them somewhere else. So, the whole thing needs to be controlled if there's going to be any kind of welfare considerations. You can't just, treat animals as so much disposable, problem or rubbish or whatever it is. You have to have a system where it operates humanely, and the outcome for the animals at the end of the day, whether it's positive or not, is at least handled humanely.
Yeah, because
tell me something.
Hold on, Rich. Yesterday, I believe it was Tacarigua, some idiot tied a dog in the middle of a field to a metal structure with a heavy chain and a padlock, and left the dog there. Fortunately, a good Samaritan saw them, and with the help of another good Samaritan, was able to release the dog, feed, give the food, the dog water, and so on. And I just do not understand why people would do something like that.
Well, the problem is if you don't have, you know, people will abandon animals. It doesn't just happen in Trinidad. It's all over the place. You don't want it anymore. You don't know what to do with it. You abandon it, right? If there are places, if there are alternatives, some people will take those alternatives. You know, if they know, well, I can take the animal into this shelter or this facility and it'll be treated reasonably humanely, then, you know, that provides an alternative. If there are no alternatives, people will find a way. You know, they will dump the animal somewhere. There's a lot of abandonment of unwanted animals in the country. So you do need to give people options, you know, otherwise this will just continue.
But the question I wanted to ask is, I knew the issue of abused animals and the intersect with the TTPS assisting. I don't know if there is a dedicated police unit to deal with animal welfare. I think there was one being formed when Gary Griffith was Commissioner of Police. I don't know if it still exists or if it was completely formed or not. I don't know if you could give some sort of update on that, because sometimes people may see animals being abused but not sure what to do and where to report.
Well, there is it wasn't really a unit. What Gary Griffith did at the time was allocate a responsibility to 2 officers who were to be our liaison people. And it did work for a while, particularly one of the officers was very helpful. So either he would try and assist us, or if we had to deal with a police station in a particular district, he would try to pave the way for us to work with the police there. But that he has since been reassigned, and there really isn't any liaison person now. In terms of there are laws in place. In 2020, the Ministry of Agriculture piloted some amended legislation. It's called the Animals, Diseases and Importation Amendment Act. It's not actually the best place to have animal welfare legislation, but it was really an opportunity to get it on the books, you know, without waiting another 20 years. So in that legislation, there's a new section that outlines the conditions for the welfare of animals. Also, the section on animal cruelty that was formerly placed in the Summary Offences Act was repealed from summary offences and placed in this amended legislation. So that legislation is really what we are looking at and hoping will be implemented. So it comes under the Ministry of Agriculture. And what we have been asking for is for the ministry to start working on it. There's a provision in the legislation for the formation of an advisory, a committee that's advisory to the minister. And it has a number of responsibilities, not just animal welfare, but also for developing a plan, let's say, for dog control for the country. So the opportunities are there to at least start working on it. And it's really vital because the police service at this point doesn't, you know, generally speaking, there's no understanding of the legislation in place or even how to go about enforcing it.
I know in some countries they have a dedicated animal welfare unit with officers who have powers of arrest and can arrest
animal cop.
Who can arrest people for how they abuse animals. But what I'm getting for you, of course, our infrastructure is not that sophisticated. And it's really, I suppose it's really on the person reporting how passionately they want the problem solved and how much they want to harass, I guess, and I'm using the word harass liberally, the TTPS to get involved in terms of coming to deal with the issue.
Well, you know, the thing is, you know, I think at the end of the day, we do need some kind of a dedicated unit because dealing with animals is not just, it's not as straightforward as people may think. If you're going to go through a process of enforcement, it means you need to know what evidence you should collect. You need to have a lot of guidelines in place and standards that you can use. So, it's something that has to be developed. We have dealt with the police on a number of occasions at different stations. And really, getting any kind of response depends to a great extent on the particular individual officer that you may meet, because there isn't really enough, there's no prior history of doing this kind of taking this kind of action. So, there isn't really very much for the police to look at in terms of cases. And, there are really no guidelines offered as to what are the standards of welfare that we are assessing the animal based on. How do you collect evidence? What kind of evidence do you need? You also need veterinary support. If you're going to consider even going to court, you would need veterinary support. You would need a veterinarian to sign off and say, yes, I've assessed the animal. This is this is my report on my findings. So, there are a number of things that have to be put in place if we're going to, take any kind of action or legal action. And none of that has really been sorted through, and that has not been developed.
Ms. Corvilla, what is the capacity of the TSPCA compound down there, and what other animals do you house there outside of dogs?
In terms of capacity, we have about 137 dogs and puppies there, which is more than what we would, which is really more than our capacity. We don't believe in a lot of overcrowding, though, because then the conditions and health of the animals deteriorates. So we are really at the maximum. So apart from dogs, we also take in cats, and we have a separate section for cats and kittens, and that's purpose built for them. Those are the only animals we take in. We do collaborate with some of the wildlife rehabilitation centers. So if we are contacted about wildlife, we know how to handle that. We also Ricardo Mead
from Elscoro Wildlife.
Yes, he's been very good. So we do collaborate. We collaborate with the veterinary community on cases where maybe there'll be let's say in a different region and we can't get to it. We do have links with certain vet clinics, so we can collaborate with them if to deal with cases that are on another part of the country. And we do have experience dealing with things like cases, particularly of horses that have been abandoned, because we've been doing that for many years. We collaborate with the Animal Welfare Network. We have links with certain stables and so on. So we dealt with abandoned horses for many years when, horses that came off the track that nobody really wanted and so on.
That so pisses me off, huh?
Yeah.
That so pisses me off. You go on the track, I don't want the horse no more. Go somewhere and let them out. I know animals are alive in South Oropouche. They have two resources that they have down there.
Yeah. So we dealt with that for many years. I think we've dealt with well over 100 and something cases of abandoned horses, which is a very expensive thing to cope with. So we've dealt with that. We try to link with the Ministry of Agriculture if we get reports of, let's say, livestock that is wandering or injured or something. So, the shelter itself is really for dogs and cats, but we have our linkages with other organizations or agencies for other animals.
But it's not limitless. So at what point is a decision made to either get these dogs homes, or in extreme circumstances, if they are diseased or sick, to do euthanizing, because I would imagine that will be the more humanely way to go sometimes.
Yeah. Well, we get animals in every single day, and apart from, I mean, funding and so on, of course, is always a problem. But at the end of the day, it's getting a home. That is what your main stumbling block will be. You know, if you don't get homes for the animals, then it limits how many you can take in and how many you can assist. But we often take in animals beyond our capacity because the alternative for them is very poor. People will tell us, and we hear this every day, I don't want to drop it at the side of the road. So we do try to assist people and offer them alternatives. But if they cannot take up any of those alternatives, we are forced to take in the animals. So all animals that come into us, we assess. If they're very, very young, if they're very, very old, if they're injured and so on, if they're very poor likelihood of them getting a home, we do euthanize. And I mean, people are very unhappy about it, but one has to be realistic. You know, where are these animals going? There's nowhere for them to go. So at some point, you have to make decisions. And really, at the end of the day, what we are providing is temporary accommodation with the intention of making sure that that animal is in good health, well socialized, and can fit into someone's home.
Sita, just going back to the issue of the regional corporations, what is the legal responsibility in law for these regional bodies?
Yeah. Well, they operate under two laws that govern how they deal with well, it's mainly dog control. The corporations deal with dog control. They're not really they don't really deal with sort of animal welfare. There's the Dogs Act, which is a very, very old piece of legislation that from 1917 or somewhere like that. It's been amended a few times. And that gives or mandates the corporations to pick up stray dogs. The dogs are to be held for a period of 5 days, you know, in case the owner claims the animal. If no one claims the animal after 5 days, then a decision can be made either to try to find it a new home or to euthanize the animal. So that is the responsibility of the regional corporations. They are also responsible for implementation of the Dog Control Act, which was that legislation was developed in 2013. And that was really geared more to looking at dangerous dogs, right? So that covered particularly 5 breeds of dog, mostly the pit bull, but it also created options for charging owners who have a dog that's dangerously out of control. There have been a lot of problems with that legislation. Really, nothing has been put in place to implement it. And then, you know, even when it was proclaimed, there were a lot of concerns about some of the provisions and how feasible they were. But so basically, dog control, whether it's with stray dogs or whether it's with dangerous dogs, is the responsibility of the corporations.
Just as you raised that, Ms. Curvilla, there was recently a case where a dog ran out from a neighbor, from the owner's yard, and ran into a neighbor's porch, and I think mutilated a child. I think the child died. I think that was the last incident I would have heard about something like that quite recently. What would happen to a dog in that circumstance? Would you all be contacted to deal with a situation like that?
Well, we have been contacted on many occasions to deal with pit bulls or dangerous dogs that maybe have gotten away. And we had a case with some people who couldn't leave their house because there was this dog outside, and was behaving aggressively. So we do try to help where we can, or get a veterinarian to assist us and so on. Sometimes the police get involved, and then they will often call us and ask us to assist with transport or to house the animal or something. So, you know, it's really not our responsibility as such. We run a shelter, but sometimes, depending on the situation, we will get involved. We will assist. But there have been a number of cases. We're recently looking at 2 cases where children have been attacked by dogs and been injured. And when the parents have gone to the police, they've not had any assistance whatsoever. And I think it's important that we start educating the public about their responsibilities for animals that are under their care, because it's an out of control situation, and you really can't have people put at risk by people's dangerous dogs. You're getting a lot more people wanting dogs that show aggression because they're concerned about security and so on. Now, if you're going to have a dog that is a protective dog, you do need to know how to handle it properly, and you do need to make sure that your property is secure so that people aren't at risk. Yeah, sorry.
I'm wondering if they're even applying, as you said, the Dog Control Act, which prohibits the importation and ownership of certain breeds of dogs, and also deals with the interbreeding of some dogs, which have a different temperament when they're interbred and not trained properly. And that's a very dangerous situation. We've had situations in the past where adults and children have been mauled to death. And if you're saying the corporation is not doing that, that's a problem. That's a real issue. And we have a tendency to wait for a front page headline and to react and call for this and call for that and call for the other after the fact when someone is hurt or killed.
After the fact.
Yeah, well, it's a real situation. There's really no control over what's going on out there. None at all. Okay, so I'll tell you that quite frankly. We know dogs can come in illegally from Venezuela. When the whole husky boom started, they were initially coming from Venezuela. None of the controls were in place for the movement or importation of these animals. And then of course there's concerns of things like rabies coming in and so on. And there's really no control, no inspection, nothing in place to monitor what is happening with breeding of dogs or ownership.
What about your resources? What kind of resources are you working with? Because if the load on your organization is increasing, is it that you get a subvention? Is it that you depend on the kindness of strangers and volunteers? How are you making out at the organization?
Well, we are an NGO, a charity. We always begging. And we're very fortunate because the members of the public have been extremely helpful. So we're always begging. We beg for things like food and cleaning supplies and that kind of thing. Of course, also financial donations. We do get some financial donations, but we operate with quite a significant shortfall between our income and our expenses. We received a subvention from the government in 2022 from local government because we really were desperately in need of doing maintenance work on the facility, and we managed to get a subvention then. We have applied again this year and really what we need is an annual subvention. We need to know that we can function from year to year because we are so cash strapped that we have to spend so much of our effort just trying to keep afloat. We have
raising funds.
Yeah, we have a staff. We have a staff who work, we cover the shelter 7 days a week and public holidays and so on. We have a full house of animals to care for. We have to pay for drugs, cleaning supplies,
So you have to apply for a subvention. Is it every 2 years or 3 years? How does it work with you?
Well, there's no guarantees about the subvention. We just have to keep asking. So we didn't receive anything last year. This year we're trying again to get a subvention. So we put in a request. So there aren't any guarantees. There's nothing like on the books that says every year TSPCA is entitled.
You have to apply for it, provide your audited documents, and hope for the best.
Yeah, we apply. We send in our statistics on everything. All our work, different aspects of our work. We send in our income statements and everything, and we apply. Because really, we had reached such a critical point in 2022, we thought we would be shutting down because we had basically only money left to pay staff severance and debts,
Wow.
So
that is very disturbing.
We are sort of stumbling from year to year, and we have no guarantees of a subvention.
What about corporate support, private sector?
Well, we did a big push for corporate support this year. There are one or two companies that do assist us with projects. We're very grateful to Angostura because they have assisted us with projects, from time to time, and they're working on one with us now. But we don't really get broad corporate support. We did a big push to the companies towards the end of last year. But you see, they have usually established criteria for their CSR, and often it's more based on things like supporting culture or sport or community development. So we kind of fall outside of the normal criteria. So
what about the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development or the Ministry of Agriculture, who you, through your work, assist a lot, where the gaps come in?
Yeah. Well, we got some funds in 2020 from the Ministry of Agriculture when they actually proclaimed that that new amended act with a welfare component. So we are trying again with the Ministry of Agriculture. We're also trying with local government because we do assist local government, and we always have over the past years. So in some ways we have strong links there. And we do think there's a good justification for their annual support. So we are pushing with both of those agencies to get funding.
If I'm not mistaken, I think you do get a subvention from the Port of Spain Corporation because of the close relation. You don't anymore?
No, we don't get a subvention. What they do is if they bring in dogs, they pay us the same amount per animal as a member of the public would. Usually we ask for a relinquishment fee to help us with that. It's like $200 for a dog kind of thing. So that's what we ask the public to pay, and they will sometimes, and other times they won't. And that is what the corporation will pay. But that really doesn't assist us in covering our general operational costs, because we pay commercial rates for electricity, for utilities. We pay commercial rates, and we have staff to pay, and operations. We have veterinarians to pay. We have a lot of expenses, and what we get from the Port of Spain Corporation is only a fee to manage that particular.
Well, you had to renegotiate your arrangement there, Ms. Corvilla, because I know that at one point in time there was a very solid arrangement because TSPCA is in fact on corporation lands down in the back there on Macrappa Road. So
Yes.
I was part of the council when those lands were given to TSPCA, because you all were previously by Roxy roundabout, if you remember.
We were by Roxy, and when One Woodbrook Place went up, they moved everyone out. So HCL built the new facility in where we are now in Mucuraco land. Yeah, right. But we don't get any annual support from the corporations. It is a fee per dog that is brought in. Yeah.
All right.
Well, let's segue into what's happening tomorrow.
Right.
Let's get into that a little bit.
Yeah.
And of course, it is your adoption drive.
Yes.
That's happening from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the shelter.
Yes.
Of course, in fact, I will tell you, all our pets are all adopted. The last adoption we did was we came to TTSPCA and adopted 2 sisters.
Yeah.
And they were actually, I got a history, they were actually 4 of them in a box on the side of the highway by Kelly Village. They were found it was 2 males and 2 females, and the males had passed away in the box, but someone rescued them and brought them to the shelter. So we did adopt those that my parents had. We have 3 dogs at home, and one was found in Westby's parking lot, and we adopted that one. My animals, my pets are all adopted. So what can someone do to come down to the shelter? I mean, you have to come down for your adoption drive. Tell us more about that.
Okay, well, I mean, we use Facebook and Instagram to share pictures and videos and so on. So if people want to have a look, they can have a look there and see some of the animals that are up for adoption. We have currently, I think I mentioned, 127 dogs and puppies and about 35 or 40 cats and kittens in-house. All the ones that are up for adoption would have been vaccinated. Well, everybody's vaccinated and in good health, spayed or neutered already in advance of the adoption drive. We've reduced our adoption fee to $275 for the animals that are up for adoption. They go out with a collar and an ID tag. And we've got support from VEMCO, who are actually sponsoring the adoption drive. So they have provided us with giveaways as well. Anyone who adopts will get a bag of chow and tin food and so on. And another company called Old Doc has Old Mac, sorry. They have also given us 10 hampers with pet rice and bowls and things like that. So we've got, nice giveaways for people who adopt. We will, of course, be ensuring that the home is appropriate. So we will want evidence of a secure property with shelter and so on, and that, that the animal can be cared for properly. We don't just give out our animals to anyone who comes along. Yeah, there are requirements because we do put a lot of effort into caring for them, making sure they're healthy, they're, sterilized, and that they're socialized. So we do put in effort to make sure they can fit into a home.
Yeah, you have volunteers around that go and visit these families. They did that by my parents. So and once you're approved, you can always adopt.
Well, we ask people to bring a video to show the property, the perimeter, the fencing, the gates, because we have had problems where sometimes people take an animal and then the next thing you know, it gets lost. And it's really upsetting for us because we do put a lot of effort into making sure that they're good family pets.
Give the location of your shelter, Ms. Corvilla, for a lot of people who don't know where it is.
Yeah,
it's Christopher Samuel Drive, which comes off the Mukarapu Road. It's the road that comes off right between Mukarapu Secondary and the Jamaat Mosque. Yeah. So it's you just enter Mukarapu lands on that road, and we are just opposite Starlift Banyard, right around.
Just follow it; you cannot miss it.
You can't.
You can't miss if you're driving that road.
Yeah.
Right opposite Starlift Banyard.
Right opposite Starlift Banyard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So it's happening tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
10 a.m. to 1.
There's a contribution of $275 that you had mentioned before, and that fee you're getting an animal that's spayed or neutered and vaccinated as well.
Vaccinated. Everything up to date. You'll get the vaccination card to take home. They all go out with a collar, and we have an engraved ID tag with a contact numbers and so on, so that, and everything is done in place. And the same thing with the cats. They are all also vaccinated, healthy. We get a lot of people who are interested in the cats. So, we have both dogs and cats up for adoption. And you can look on our Facebook page and so on, and you'll see some of the animals there.
Yeah. Just quickly, just a little segue. I know, well, a lot of people come into the pet butler and they ask about spay and neutering.
Yeah.
And they always ask me, where can we get it, at a reasonable price? And I always tell them to, call the TTSPCA. You want to enlighten us a little bit about that and enlighten the public?
Yeah. Well, spaying and neutering is really important. It's the humane method of population control. And, if you're going to have pets, especially more than one dog or cat, well, cats, it's essential. Otherwise, if you don't do cats, you're going to have like 20 cats roaming around your property.
Cats can have a litter 3, 4, or 4 times a year.
So that's essential.
Yeah.
So it helps to keep things under control. It's always better if you have animals. It's better for your neighbors. There's a lot less confusion generally, and noise and so on. And it's also good for the health of the animals. So we run a clinic once a week. We have a vet who comes in and he does what's called high volume spaying. That's what he was trained in. So he does all of our animals, and we also offer a clinic to the public at a reduced cost. This is heavily subsidized. A vet clinic cannot operate at those kinds of, a vet clinic is a business, so they can't offer the service at the rate we do. So really, we're catering for people who cannot afford to go to a vet clinic. So we offer the service at the shelter. We can also point people in the direction of maybe 2 NGOs that also offer subsidized rates out in collaboration with vet clinics. So that means if you live in San Fernando or so, you don't necessarily have to come to Port of Spain. Or if you live in the East, there are clinics out there who are under the program. So we can point you in the direction of a lower cost subsidized service.
Yeah. All right. So the number for the shelter is 622-1367. They're having the adoption drive tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. for both cats, puppies, dogs, kittens, you name it. I know a few people already that are coming tomorrow. One of them works here.
Yeah.
I would not call Avi's name. But it's such a wonderful job that you do at the shelter and various shelters and various NGOs.
Yeah.
And I know people don't know that when they have, I call it sad cases, that, you all jump on and with your resources and try to help. I mean, recently was the one with the horrible condition of a white dog where even somebody offered a reward to find this dog and bring it to the shelter to get it dealt with. I know the shelter was dealing with abuse. There's so many animals that are abused. I'm talking about abuse. I'm talking about on a chain for its entire life.
Yeah.
Sun, no liquid, no food. And I knew one case a little while back where you all jumped in on that and was able to rescue that animal. I don't know what people think. I don't think a pet is something that you just tie and just leave alone. I've actually seen, and I actually stopped and talked to the individual last year, where they had a husky tied in the hot sun.
Yeah, people, it's funny, they don't seem to realize that animals have the same basic needs that people have. Water, food, shelter. Those are pretty basic, and a certain amount of freedom of movement. And particularly with this terrible hot, dry season we've been having, it's essential that animals have shelter and water. Those are essentials. And that people need to remember that they can suffer from the heat the same way we can. We've had cases, a couple of cases recently of people bringing animals to us in the trunk of a car, where they come, completely moribund from heat stroke. So,
what are your thoughts on the husky revolution?
Yeah, well, we never considered huskies appropriate dogs for our climate.
It is not.
And it's not just the fact that they have the thick fur, but also they are high energy working dogs. So they're not, I mean, they may be pretty, but they're supposed to be working dogs. So they need a lot of exercise. And a lot of people get these dogs just because they're pretty.
Sure, for sure.
And
their eyes.
Well, but the thing is, they are working dogs. They are dogs that they should be exercising or running or whatever it is for 1 or 2 hours a day. So people are getting these high energy dogs and just keeping them there cooped up in their backyard. So they're not the right dogs for Trinidad.
What do you need? Phases in this country. It was the pitbull
short-haired. Sorry.
It was the pitbull before because they want to have a status symbol, and now they have.
Because now you see some huskies are stray dogs because they just cannot maintain.
We've had many cases. We always have huskies in the shelter, or husky mixes, or abandoned huskies, and because also post-COVID there was a big breeding boom. People were trying to make money by breeding whatever was the popular dog of the day. So we got a lot of huskies and a lot of Malinois. Malinois are also popular. And these are high energy dogs that also have a potential for aggression. And if you don't know what you're doing and you can't train them, then it's not the right dog for you. So we've had a lot of problems with particularly those two breeds coming into the shelter. So there's a real need for education. People need to take on the kind of animals that they could realistically care for.
Yeah.
Is there such a thing as a dangerous cat, Ms. Curvilla?
well, I guess
I could probably answer that one.
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah. Try to give them a pill or try to give them medication.
Yes.
It's called a lion or tiger or a panther.
Yeah.
But with us, we do a lot of work with the cats at the shelter. We socialize. We have lovely children who come in and sit with them and work with them. So we try very hard to make sure that when people adopt them from us, they are nice, friendly pets, good companions.
Thanks for being with us. And
keep up thanks,
thanks very much for having me. Thank you.
Yeah. She can't stop laughing.
Wendell.
Paul make me laugh. Wendell say, is there such a thing as a dangerous cat? Paul, yeah. They're called lion and tigers.
Let me just, before we
lion, tigers, and cheetahs.
And cheetahs, that's what they're called. Dangerous cats. Not necessarily the kind of cat you think may be dangerous.
Let me just remind you all the adoption drive at TTSPCA. It is behind the Jamaat al-Muslimin. Please take some pictures and video of your surroundings. So when you go to adopt, you could show them and prove that your property is fenced and the dog or cat would not get away. It's $275. They get a vaccination. They're spayed or neutered, and they are socialized as well, which is important.
That is the one.
I had to actually come and line my remarks with you a day, just for you to unburden that dangerous mind that you have. What
really going on?
Because really and truly, what is a dangerous cat, Wendell? Sorry, a cat.
That's why I was asking if there is such a thing.
Lion, a tiger, a cheetah, a panther, the big cats are usually dangerous.
All of them are pretty dangerous.
The big ones with a lot of fur, some of them like the lion mane. It's dangerous.
Have a good day.
The moral of the story is the bigger the cat, the more dangerous.
The more dangerous. Good morning, Zena.
All right. Good morning to Captain Ron, who's out in Las Vegas. Good morning to Captain Ron. Yeah, didn't
Bring
go
back
this
my
year.
cough,
I'll
yes.
go next year. All right, gentlemen. Of course, TTSPCA's telephone number 622-1367. Tomorrow, 10 to 1, the adoption drive. All right, gentlemen, have a great weekend.
Yeah, folks, have a wonderful weekend. Be careful on the roads. Look out for the young ones. And remember to let go and let God. I think there's Jazz in Tobago this weekend, isn't it?
I have no clue.
I think so.
I know.
Anyway, the weekend has begun, people. And of course, theater is on next weekend, Saturday the 4th at 8:30 p.m. and Sunday the 5th of May at 6:30 p.m. at Cipriani College. Tickets are on sale at all outlets. You could check our Productions theater page. Get your tickets early. I mean, we had fantastic houses at Cipriani College last week, and we are going to have fantastic houses next week, Saturday and Sunday. So get your tickets early. All outlets have tickets. The box office at Cipriani College opens on Wednesday, the 1st of May, from 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily. But all outlets like K-Squared Fashions, West Small and Eastgates, for example, would have tickets. Electronics in Arima, Jubilee Rawi in Tunapuna, Creme Fresh in Brentwood Mall, Chagonas, and Tony's Flores in Val Park Shopping Plaza. All of them have tickets. Get your tickets early. Trust me. Love is a Walk is a special show. I mean, it's just getting rave reviews.
Yeah.
Check our SR Productions theater page on social media. Have a fantastic weekend, whatever you decide to do.